Hello, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Allie, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. But before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single episode. I really value your feedback and recommendations. Now let's begin. Today I'm reviewing A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett, the second book in the Shadow of the Leviathan series about Anna and Din solving mysteries. In this book, we catch back up with Anna and Din after they've solved a few more mysteries together, and now they're in the canton of Yarrowdale. And Yarrowdale is a country in and of itself, and where the Empire is working on getting Yarrowdale to become part of the Empire. It's them working together because Yarrowdale has graciously allowed the Empire to have the Fold in their part of the ocean. And the Fold is where dissect and work on the Leviathans. And the Leviathans are these monsters that come out of the deep. And for whatever reason, their blood has this magic. And their blood, when it's in its purest form, is very dangerous, which we will see in this book because, warning, there is body horror in this book where there is violence, death, body mutilation. It's a little less bad compared to the first book where there was a lot of corruption and bad stuff happening to people. There is still death, there is still body horror elements that are happening, but at least it's not to the same degree. We get a variety, at least, of murder, which is nice. It's good to have different stuff happening. It's nice because I really like that we're starting to learn more about the way this world operates in terms of the magic space. Like we've learned in the first book that the magic comes from the Leviathan. Like the people have learned how to take the magic that is in these monsters and turn it in such a way as to be able to help people, to make it something that is useful, because it is something that is called, it's their various experiments and additions to themselves. And it's very powerful magic enhancements. That is how this happens, because this empire is very military focused, and so the enhancements that people have are very specialized. Like they're and in the past, before the enhancements were separated out, which is something which we didn't know this before. We learned it in this book later, that in the days of old, the enhancements used to be very concentrated in this group of people, and these people that had the original enhancements before it was really super duper diluted, they were the extreme people. Like Din, his enhancements, Denise Cole, his enhancement is that he's able to remember everything that anyone has ever said to him by use of sense. But these enhancements also have their own dangerous side effects. Like, because he never forgets anything, he is going to just eventually go, he's going to eventually go a little on the deep end. He's going to go a little crazy, as they say, and it's just their lives are shortened by this and by having these enhancements. However, the good thing is that the pay is really good. And Din is doing this to get his family away from the ocean, away from the canton that they're in right now, and get them further into get them closer to the capital, get them into a better district. And we also learned that his father, before he died, had racked up these serious debts. And of course, the debt collectors followed him all the way to Yarrowdale and told him that because he is in a very dangerous area, Yarrowdale, he now has to pay even more because if he dies, who's going to collect the money? Who's going to pay? So that's just adding to his stress as well. And as we've caught up to him at this point in time, he's also sleeping with anyone that it shows interest. In the last book, we learned that he does prefer men. In this book, we learned that while he does prefer men, he will sleep with women and men, but he does prefer men. And he does remember his lover from the previous location, our beloved soldier. But unfortunately, it sounds like he might probably never see him again unless he goes back to that canton, which is really sad because it sounds like he did like him. And he was actually hoping to maybe go back to that canton by transitioning to becoming a warrior, a soldier, instead of being an investigator. And Anna kind of had an idea of what was going on there, and she calls him out on it because Anna is like Sherlock Holmes to like even above Sherlock Holmes. And Cole has asked her before, like, what enhancements do you even have? Like, because she's never really said, like, she's always blindfolded. She's super old. She's very quirky. And she's like, never you mind. I may tell you someday. Like, I love her. And I wish we had more time with Anna. I hope in the next books, I don't know how many books we're going to get. I'm guessing it's going to be 3. I don't know. It looks like there is going to be a 3rd book, but I don't know how many books we are actually going to get. But I hope we get to learn more about Anna, because right now the main focus is on Den. Like, we've learned that he is on a bit of a sleeping bender because with sleeping with anyone, and Anna's just over it. She's like, you're lucky that we have all these different, in the Empire, we have all these medical stuff, because otherwise, who knows what you would have caught by now. She is very much, she is very blunt. But anyway, that is all the generalized information that we know so far. And he's stressing about paying these debts, and now they're increasing how much he has to pay. And so he's wanting to try to get back to the reason why he's wanting to get back and become a warrior soldier and defend the wall is because he feels like that is a more exact, like it's a more immediate result. Like, you can see you kill the Leviathan, you're saving people, that's that. As an investigator, it's a lot more subtle, and sometimes it doesn't always work out, and it's not exactly what he thought it was going to be. And he has asked Anna, like, I would like to have your approval to be able to transfer. But he's also kind of keeping it from her that he also has this issue with having to pay more money and stuff. And it's just all not very good. Right now, we are in the middle of another murder investigation. And I really like the dynamics between Den and Anna. And this murder is being committed by someone who is very cunning and can pass through warded doors like a ghost. And it's all very mysterious. And worse than all of that, there are concerns that the killer will be targeting the high security compound known as the Shroud, which is what I was saying before, where the Empire has the best of the best, working to harvest the fallen Leviathans for the volatile magic in their blood. The Shroud is very mysterious, very dangerous in and of itself, because it is out on the ocean, and we learn that the Shroud was created from Leviathan itself. Like, that's how it contains the magic and the blood and everything. It is very creepy and disturbing. But the Shroud is very mysterious and dangerous, and were it to fall, the very magic of the Empire would fall, and they would be doomed because the Empire would grind to a halt. So Anna and Den have been called to the case to solve the mystery and figure out what is going on. And it is just very, very, very strange. And it becomes even more complicated as they dig in to investigate to figure out how can someone disappear out of a heavily guarded tower. And I'm not going to go into all of the details. I'm going to do my best to be spoiler-free of the mystery, but we know I am not very good at that. But I will do my best. it is a very good mystery, and looking back on it, I like the way he builds up the mystery, and that we are getting more into who Din is and just more about the Empire. I absolutely love the world building aspects here, and as we are getting into Yarrowdale, we're getting into the politics of it all, of being outside of the Empire and people being, you're part of the Empire. You are not they're not welcome here, basically. And it's very interesting with the different dynamics of the way they're viewed here versus how it was in other locations. And so they start off in the guarded tower, and Din does his usual stick, and he is working with a new group of people to investigate, ask questions, and it's very strange because they found the body, and the body was cut up into pieces, and they found him in the river, and it sounded like it was they were trying to hide the death. And then it becomes weird because they found the body, but then they also find out that another person who said it was him had actually gone into the treasury, and they had used his blood to get into the treasury. But it's like, how can you use his blood when it's like they said, oh, it's this person. So it's like it's all building up of what's going on. What were they looking for? What was the situation? And then, of course, there is not just a drop of corruption, as in a drop of blood, but there is corruption in Yarrow in general with the authorities, because of course it is this book is definitely a commentary on modern day society, and he does mention that in the author's note at the end, which I did really like that author's note. I thought it was very well done, and it was very interesting with how like they felt like they were doing something for the common good. Well, common good in quotes, because we find out that they were wanting to do something more. Like they were wanting to look into the marrow of the Leviathans, to do something more and create a brand new enhancement. But they did this without the Empire's knowledge. And by doing these enhancements, by trying to create this new enhancement, they created someone that is they created their own enemy, basically. Someone that is very super smart, who can see patterns everywhere. And you can see how this would be a very, very dangerous idea. And they can only really, this enhancement isn't a permanent situation. They have to take this medication, this enhancement. It's unlike with Cole, where this is a permanent alteration to him. This enhancement is different because there are different types of enhancements. There's the permanent ones, and then there's other ones that can help for short periods of time. Like there's ones that can make you go faster, but it's only for a short period of time. And they tried to make it more permanent, and it just didn't end well. So that's what I really like, is that it's all very scientific with the experimentations, and it's not just, ooh, magic. It's, okay, we have this thing in the blood. How do we get it out to do this? And then we also learn why they have to dilute the magic in the blood, because when you have straight up Leviathan blood, it is a very bad, very dangerous situation, which is when we get into the body horror of it all. And they tracked it down. And so how do you outmaneuver someone that is thinking about everything, seeing patterns everywhere, and is just so like, this is why Anna is here, because she is just so smart too. So they tracked him down through the forest, and we have more violent, gruesome planty deaths. But at least this time, unlike in book 1, where the plants were like sprouting out of people and you had like jawbones out of things, and it was just, nope, not fun. Not a fun one at all, but it was just this was just not a very pleasant experience for them to find. And these were horrific deaths. That was Titan's blood is powerfully metamorphic, where when it comes in contact with a significant concentration of living tissues, it mixes with them, forcing a strange blending. Flesh becomes as leaf, and leaf as bone, and so on. All is warped, and this is a direct quote from the book. So they come across this group of bandits in the woods. That's what because they thought that maybe this guy was doing something with these bandits, but they didn't know what exactly it was going to be. Like, they were just trying to track down a lead for this guy. Like, they didn't really know anything about him yet. They just thought, okay, maybe these bandits would have something to do with it. They find the group, and it is something straight out of a horror movie, because it all just got warped and combined, and just there was no way of escaping this if you were anywhere near this Titan's blood. And we learned in the shroud that they were doing these experiments with the marrow, and it was just a mess. And we learned that they thought that this guy was dead because this experiment killed a couple of people, and they thought that he was part of it. And it was just, wow. But Anna, being Anna, of course, she figured out what was going on in the end. And this took everyone right into the palace this took everyone right into the court of the Yarrow of the king. And there's even more of a mess going on because the Yarrow king just died. And then we start to get into kind of like, okay, how is everything kind of combined together? And then we're starting to get into more of the question of just who is Anna? What are her enhancements? And because she was wanting, because in the first book she wanted drugs, and now in this book she wants more drugs, and like she's able to get it because of course she's Anna, and so she's able to see everything and figure it all out in the end. And it was just wonderfully done. That yes, this guy may have been an evil genius, he may have been able to see the signs, but he did not expect Anna. He thought that he had outwitted everyone, and it was just perfect. And I really like the fact that Anna did give Din a choice in the end with whether or not he was going to stay. And she also, once she figured out that he was having these issues with the debt collectors, she was able to write some letters to some people, because she had heard that some other people were having issues with the same company, and she was able to let people know, like, hey, they're a little corrupt too. Like, there's a lot of corruption going on, like not only with the higher ups in Yarrowdale, but also with this. And so they investigated and found out about this. And so his debt is, I was a little confused on whether or not his debt was fully erased or if it was consolidated back down. I'm not sure exactly what was going on there, but I know that they had found that there was corruption there and they were being investigated. And so maybe I need to go back in and reread that little bit to confirm what exactly was happening. But it sounded like at least he wasn't going to be harassed again for a while. And she did that for him to make it easier for him to decide. And he decided that he was going to stay by her side as her assistant, and he also figured out who she is, and like she wasn't able to tell him directly because of some other stuff that was going on, but it was really cool. And as always, I gave this a 5 out of 5. I can't wait for the next book to come out. I'm hoping, I don't know how many more books we're going to get in this series, but I'm excited to continue to see what's going on. And so I will catch you lovely cuddlebugs next time, and take care. Bye.